close-up look at all your Concho Valley High School football. This is Inside the Game, sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.
Welcome to Inside the Game. I'm Jaden Hart, joined in the studio this week by Rachel Turnock. Week 3 is in the books. Join us as we go through all 16 games for our Concho Valley teams.
Yeah, we got plenty of rivalries tonight, first-time matchups, teams looking for that first win still, and those that are just hoping to remain perfect on the season, including the Lakeview Chiefs.
Yeah, for a second consecutive season, they're off to a 2-0 start, but it hasn't come without a challenge. Last week, the Chiefs were down for most of the game against Pecos, but rattled off 22 unanswered points to get them a 3-point win. That had to be an emotional win, but they had to quickly put that in the rear view because they had Sweetwater coming to town tonight.
Yeah, this is the first meeting between the two since 2017. The Mustangs have dominated the series, though, holding a 35-11 edge. Lakeview's last win against Sweetwater came in 1983. So can the Chiefs snap that streak and improve to 3-0? Opening drive for Sweetwater. Leo Holsey passes to Darian Carr. What a grab by him in the end zone. Mustangs score quick. Took 4 plays, 1 minute, 17 seconds. 6-0 Sweetwater after a missed PAT later in the quarter. Holsey hands it off to Camarion Sadler. Goes left. He's just going to turn on the Jets for this one. Goes up the left side of the sideline. See you later. 35 yards for the touchdown. Mustangs went for 2, and they got it to go up 14-0. They lead second quarter. Chiefs trailing 28-0. Albert Rodriguez hoping to lift up the team, and he does. A pass to Austin Bandy. 68 yards. Goodbye. Touchdown, Chiefs. The PAT was blocked. Sweetwater still leads 28-6. The Mustangs just kept pulling away, though. Holsey finds Harrison Foster, and he goes untouched into the end zone. Mustangs go up 34-6. Sweetwater led 34-14 at the half, and they go on to win 58-42.
Well, another one of the unbeaten teams, the Wall Hawks, and they're no stranger to scheduling hard district opponents. Just last week, they knocked off a good Cisco team at 35-14 that's ranked 4th in 2A Division I. But tonight's game against San Antonio Cornerstone Christian might be the hardest matchup they've ever played, and that's saying something. Yeah,
one big reason why the Warriors will be a tough challenge for Wall tonight is because of Lucas Coley, their starting quarterback. He's a 3-star recruit that committed to Arkansas. They beat state-ranked power Corpus Christi Calallen by 4 points in week 1. This will be a big test for the Hawks and a fun one to watch too. Yeah, and you can't forget about all of those Converse Judson transfers either. Head coach Houston Guy said this week that Cornerstone is comparable to a team they would see in a deep playoff run. So how did the Hawks do tonight? Hoping to start 3-0 for another season. First drive of the game, Mizell Miller takes the handoff, and he scores. And just like that, the Warriors are up 7-0. That was the only offense really in the first half because Drew Morrison's pass here is picked off, and the Warriors would get a good return on this one, brought down at about midfield. And then on the ensuing drive, trying to add to their lead, Lucas Coley, who you just talked about, Rachel, showing off why he's going to Arkansas with a lot of jukes. But, hey, he fumbled the football, and the Hawks came up with it. So could they do anything with it? Morrison back to pass again, trying to get on the board, and he has picked off. And that's kind of how this one would go. Wall could not get anything going offensively despite only trailing 7-0 going into halftime, and they fall, losing their first game of the season at 24-6. You know, and just talking a little bit about the Wall Hawks, felt like earlier this week, you know, looking at that matchup and the behemoth that Cornerstone Christian was going to be. I mean, they knew what was coming into Hawk Stadium. And win or lose, this was a win for Wall. I know that sounds kind of contradicting, but going down the stretch, as Houston Guy said, this is a team that was comparable to someone they'll see in the playoffs. Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly why they wanted to schedule them. They were they got plenty of size, and Wall has some size too on their line, but San Antonio Cornerstone, they have size as well. That's something that they don't always necessarily will see from time to time. And you know, they did have some costly mistakes like Drew Morrison threw that interception, but these are just things that they obviously will be able to learn on. And then of course welcoming in Mason next week, a team that, you know, that's always just a fun game to watch, but this will definitely be a huge learning game for Wall.
Yeah, and you look at it, it could have been 17-6 as the final score. So, I mean, really a good effort from the Hawks all around. But hey, we're just getting started. Plenty of more intriguing matchups left to come. Rivals Grape Creek and TLCA faced off for the Battle of the Eagles, and Ballinger hosted Colorado City. Those highlights and more right after this.
My name is Jamie Berry-Hill, founder and director of Mission Messiah. 23 years ago, we launched the mission for the purpose of seeing lives transformed. 4 years ago, we launched Mission Messiah Television and deemed it encouraging television to enhance your lives. And that's exactly what happens as you witness these lives being transformed. We also interview national and international high-profile individuals impacting our world. Won't you tune in? Mission Messiah Television.
Welcome to La Esperanza Clinic, with 2 locations serving San Angelo and the Concho Valley. Our Lakeview location offers adult primary, women's health, pediatrics, and dental. Our Chatburn location offers adult primary, behavioral health, and extended hours. Both sites provide telehealth, 24/7 access to online patient portal, affordable payment options, assistance with Texas Healthy Women's, SNAP benefits, and Marketplace. La Esperanza Clinic is here to make healthcare accessible for everyone in the Concho Valley.
Shop local, stay safe, and keep downtown strong.
Hi, Meals on Wheels. I'm Marco. I'm a college student, and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels. I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
And we're back. For the seventh consecutive season, TLCA and Grape Creek played football against one another tonight. It's a blossoming rivalry where TLCA holds the upper hand with a 4-2 series record.
The Eagle Bowl is what we can call it, if you want to call it that. On top of all the changes and adjustments teams are going through around the season, TLCA is adjusting to a new head coach, Matt Jones, who came over from Miles, and they also moved up to 3A Division I from Division II. Grape Creek, they're just trying to snap a 9-game losing streak. Their last win was Week 3, September 12th, 2019 against Rock Springs. TLCA has lost 6 straight. Their last win was against Grape Creek on October 10th, 2019. So which Eagle team will get their first win this season and end that streak? We'll pick this up in the first quarter. Grape Creek running that single wing, a jump pass right here. Landon Crow to Colin Humphrey. It's a foot race to the end zone, and he's dragged down at the 5-yard line. Almost made it, but that would lead to an easy score as Jorge Rodriguez cruises in for 6. Grape Creek ahead 6-0 after the failed 2-point conversion. Never give up. Early second quarter, Grape Creek looking to extend its lead. Lost in the scramble, but guess who comes up with it? TLCA Jacob Patterson with the scoop. See you later, back for 6. The scoop scores ties the game at 6. TLCA missed the extra point. A turnover-filled battle, but Grape Creek goes on to win this one 42-12. They snap their 9-game losing streak.
It feels great. You know, we started off the first week, we got beat by a good Stanton team 8-0, and then last week we lost a heartbreaker to Christoval, and we felt like both games we were in it till the very last. It was just, it's great to finally finish a game and finishing on the winning side. You know, each week we've gotten a little bit better. And so our defense has played great, you know, finally getting our offense going. So, no, confidence, getting this first win is huge for us confidence-wise.
This update sponsored by Bug Express.
Homecoming for the Ballinger Bearcats, hosting Colorado City tonight out in Ballinger. First quarter, already up 7 points are the Bearcats, and check out that. Gavin Martinez comes down with the interception, and then a little bit later, Weston Rolowitz on the jet sweep, following those blockers, and look at those long legs chopping into the end zone. Ballinger up 13-0, but they were just getting started. Here we are in the second quarter, in striking distance, and I can't say it because that's Garrett Dixon who just scored the touchdown. They lead 20-0. And then how about one more? Fourth down, Carter Arrett finds Dixon again. That's his third touchdown just the first half. Made it 27-0, and this one was all Bearcats. They win 34-2 and now are 3-0 on the season. Let's go and check in on Brady. They were hosting or going over to Coleman tonight. Both teams 1-1 and coming off a loss last week. Brady was up 12 at one point in this one, but the Blue Cats score 15 unanswered points, and they get the win, 15-12. How about that? Brady back-to-back losses now, and that is kind of a big deal because, you know, Brady started out on that good foot or good note with a win over TLCA. But, you know, many people expected them to beat TLCA, and now kind of go in the wrong direction there.
Can't be giving up 15 points like that, a defensive collapse against Coleman. But, you know, we've talked about that little bit of a rivalry with Grape Creek and TLCA. That's awesome to see Grape Creek getting their first win this season. I know TLCA, they're going to still be fighting for it next week, but, you know, Coach Thiel, just proud for him.
They're going to go through some ups and downs. They're in good hands, though, with Coach Matt Jones. I will say that just going out to practice and talking to him, he's, first of all, a great man of character. He's the guy you want leading a program that's trying to turn the tides. And it might be rough this season, but in a few years, TLCA is going to have a good football program. And that's exciting for someone that wants to see it, but also, I'm sure, for the TLCA fan base. Also, really quick with Ballinger, staying undefeated, and next week they get Clyde, who has lost 2 games already this season. You would have expected Clyde to be a little bit more in a situation where maybe they've won 1 or 2, but Ballinger looks like they could be the real deal, and they're going to get Tyler Vaughn back next week at quarterback. He played a little bit tonight, but that's going to be big for them, so keep an eye out on the Ballinger Bearcats. And we aren't forgetting about a big matchup between 2 of our local teams. That's Christoval and Sonora, and this was the first time they'd actually ever played. We'll have highlights from that game and reaction along with the rest of our 2A teams next.
I wanted to give back to my world, and using CASA as an avenue, I can give back just a little bit, and it allows me to share my heart with the rest of the world and with these children. By working with CASA, we are able to have an impact on the stability, the joy, acceptance that these children feel. You are still giving of yourself to these children who need us desperately. So don't be afraid of getting out there and getting involved in these children's lives. They need you.
I'll see you later, okay.
So Dr. Pui is the best of the leukemia doctors at St. Jude. We very quickly found out how much he loves his patients. One of our first visits with Dr. Pui, he was kind of running through the protocol and naming off all the medications. And he said, but don't worry, you don't pay that, St. Jude pays that. Just to think, like, and what if they didn't?
Sometimes people with disabilities feel invisible.
Would she like some coffee or tea?
Hi, I'll have tea, please. Thank you. I think this is yours, but everyone should receive the same respect and consideration. Can I get the door for you?
Oh my, yes, thank you.
Happy to help. Brought to you by the United Spinal Association. To learn more, download our disability etiquette booklet at unitedspinal.org.
Does it scare you to know that bed bugs are real? Or that termites cause billions of dollars in property damage? Or that cockroaches and mice contribute to asthma? Well, what should really scare you is not knowing these things. Because when you don't know what you're dealing with, household pests are a lot scarier than they should be. Learn more at pestworld.org.
On Highway 277, the towns of Christoval and Sonora are separated by only 45 miles. But surprisingly, tonight was the first time that both programs met on a football field.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but maybe not, since Christoval jumped up to 11-man football in 1994. The Cougars are 1-1 coming into tonight's matchup. Sonora's still searching for their first win this season, but you can't count out the Cougars when they've got Braden Wilcox.
Yes, and bragging rights aside, a win for either team could impact them going forward. Sonora still has a tough remainder of their non-district schedule, while Christoval, well, this could be really their last test before facing rival El Dorado, which could be for the district championship down the road in Week 9. And this one, folks, lived up to the billing. Here we go. Coin toss, getting ready. Sonora, here we are. It's Christoval first. Braden Wilcox with the carry. He fumbles it, and Sonora's going to come up with the football here, and they would try to turn that into some offense. They've struggled to get on the board this year, but here, Gonzalez taking it around the corner and punches it in for 6. They would miss the extra point, so the score stays at 6-0. Christoval trying to move it again. There's Wilcox, but the ball pops out again, and he loses it to Sonora. Hey, the Sonora Broncos were playing good in this one, but Christoval in the fourth quarter put together a nice little run, scored 2 touchdowns, and go on to get the win, 22-14. I caught up with Coach Otho after the game.
When the fourth quarter started, we knew that with the offense that Sonora runs, that we're not going to get the ball a whole lot. They're going to try to eat the clock. So we had to take advantage on offense and make sure that we did pick up first downs. We had a couple key fourth down conversions that kept the drive going. It's a pretty neat experience when your offensive line, calls for it, calls for the run game, calls for, come to my side. Every time they seem to do that they get the job done. It was a good win. They're a traditional program.
This update sponsored by Bug Express.
Another team in Christoval's district, Junction on the road at Iran. The Eagles fresh off that big win over TLCA last week. Good start for Iran. Handoff to Tony Barea for the 13-yard run for a brave first down. Nothing would come of that, so a turnover on downs, and Junction with the ball. Eagles capitalizes. Colton House goes 25 yards for the touchdown to make it 6-0. Eagles lead it. Iran looking to respond. Braden Kent throws this beauty, but what this beautiful catch by J.D. Solis, and he scores to tie it up at 6. In the first quarter, Junction on the move again, handoff to House for another Junction touchdown to make it 12-6. Junction rolls to a 50-8 win. Gotta love to see the Junction Eagles get that win.
Of course, and that's why Mr. Colton House was a Mr. Texas football nominee this week. Let's check out the rest of that district. El Dorado was off a big win over Winners, 59-19 last week, but they were playing a good Coahoma team, and they beat them at 59-34. Next week, they get 5th-ranked Wink. Miles, meanwhile, gets their first win of the season and the first under head coach Jason Wilhelm, and they're also getting on the board because they hadn't scored the first 2 weeks, so they scored 29 points. Big win for the Bulldogs. And then over in 2A Division II, the final team in 2A Division II, Menard loses their 3rd straight game. They've only scored 18 points this season. They fall to ropes 33-6. And what I was trying to get to was 2A Division I, because those 2 teams that we have in our area, Ozona and Mason continues to lose football games. They're 0-3 for the first time since 1998, and things won't get any easier next week against Wall. Ozona was a 37-point favorite coming into tonight's matchup, and just the opposite of that happened. They lose 46-13, and that might be the biggest surprise of the night, is Ozona losing at home against a Reagan County team that is just normally, I guess the Reagan County is kind of coming on the up this year, and I guess shocked the Lions at home. So
yeah, especially coming off that win that they had week 1 against Sonora, which that was a big, exciting win for Jared Taylor. first win as a head coach.
And then Wink last week, they played them pretty close. So, I mean, Ozona's still going to be a good football team. Don't count them out. And we are just now entering the final stretch and about to dive into my favorite, the world of six-man football. Coming up, Eden, Erie County, and Sterling City. We're all at home tonight. We'll have highlights from their games and scores from across the six-man landscape when we come back. But first, let's go to this week's Bulls Fan Camp.
Inside the Game is provided by Chick-fil-A.
Shop local, stay safe, and keep downtown strong.
Where's Mom? Did she forget me? I wonder what happened to her. What if I get left here?
Drugs and alcohol may make you forget your problems for a moment, but that's not all you forget.
My mother worked hard to be in recovery, and I love her for that.
For drug and alcohol treatment for you or someone you love, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
What's going on?
We gotta go. Stay low.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
It's only week 3 of the season, and it's hard to say that the third-ranked team in the state is going unnoticed. But considering the 2 wins that Sterling City has so far, you would think there would be a lot more hype around this program.
One of the first things Trey Cisco said to us about this team's strength was their depth and how this could be the team that carries them all the way this year. And sure, it's only week 3, but so far so good for Sterling City.
Well, tonight they welcomed in O'Donnell, a team that has been getting some attention, and rightfully so. They beat Gordon and Garden City so far. Good wins, no doubt, but some people went as far as saying they could possibly upset the Eagles this week. Well, they quickly put that talk to rest. Number 3, Sterling City hosting O'Donnell, and like I said, this one got out of hand quickly. First quarter, Cross Niddle with the pitch, and easily in the end zone. They're up 8-0, and they keep adding it. Next possession, Sterling City, Niddle to Jarrett Justice. He's in the end zone, and it can't really get any easier than that. Eagles up 14-0, and they were hungry for another touchdown. Justice up the middle, and he scores another one. Eagles were up 34-0 at that point, and no upset here. They win 58-6. Next week, they get Borden County, who tonight knocked off the #1 team in the state ranking. Let's go over to Erie County hosting Fort Davis. Opening possession for the Hornets. Didn't take them long to score. Trevin Kofel to Riley Grider, and waits for the blocks to take off, and Erie County is on the board. 6-0 Hornets, and they weren't done scoring, folks. 2 minutes later in just the quarter. 2nd and goal. The Hornets punch it in. Grider that time again scoring the touchdown, and they lead 12-0, and even the fans are loving it. You got to get behind this Erin County team. Second quarter, why not some more from Grider? He's been doing it all night long. Takes the pitch and says, see y'all later. Touchdown for Grider, having himself a night. Third touchdown of the game. Hornets up 20-0, and they would keep on rolling. They get the win tonight, 51-6. And right now, there are a handful of teams that look like they could be real threats. Those past two teams are one to keep an eye on for sure. And another one is the Eden Bulldogs, despite suffering a crushing loss last week.
Yeah, the Bulldogs, Eden, they're looking to bounce back after losing to Leakey 52-6 on the road. They'll need to find some momentum to grasp on. As head coach Shay Avance said, they have one of the toughest pre-district schedules through the first 6 weeks of football. So we got the battle of the Bulldogs. Who's going to take this one? First quarter, Ira strikes first. Cody McCowan in for the touchdown right there. Ira takes an 8-0 lead. Ensuing possession for Eden, trying to get on board. And guess what? They take advantage. Hunter Rogers with the pitch back to Julian Gamboa. This duo is incredible. Gets the corner. Ira still ahead, though, 8-6 after the missed PAT. Still first quarter. Rogers connects with Gamboa again. What I tell you about this duo, what a pass. He's in for the second game. Eden takes a 12-8 lead. Ira would go on to win this one big, 66-18. Very best 1-0 after beating Zephyr last week. First road game of the season at Robert Lee, who is 0-1. First quarter, very best in the red zone. Bo Dunn gets the pitch untouched into the end zone. Falcons go up 6-0. Second quarter, now Dunn gets the ball again, makes a cut, and he's off to the races. Touchdown, very best goes up 14-0. This was a nail biter, and Robert Lee goes on to win this one 33-32. What a close, tight game. And then Roby was at Bront. Bront gets the loss tonight, 54-6, and Blackwell suffering a tough loss against Roscoe Highland, 42-22.
I just don't know what to make of that Blackwell Hornets team. I still think they're going to be competitive because, you know, they're Blackwell and they've been able to do things, you know, the past 3 seasons.
Exactly.
So don't count them out. Don't count out Eden either. I know back-to-back weeks where they've had some losses that don't look pretty on the scoreboard, but they're too talented, and they got hot down the stretch last season. So
they'll strike fire again.
They play Garden City next week. That's one to look out for. The other one, Borden County and Sterling City. But that's all for this week. Thank you for tuning in, and tune in next week for more Inside the Game.
Inside the Game is sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group,